WSJM News Now. Team coverage from the WSJM Newsroom on News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM.
WSJM News is brought to you by the Town Crier Wire. Download your free local news app today at the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store. In the WSJM Newsroom, I'm Dave Wolf. Police are investigating the shooting death of a 15-year-old girl in Ontoit Township. Authorities were called to a home on Maple Street Sunday afternoon, shortly before 2 p.m., after a 12-year-old shot her. Witnesses say the gun was taken from a safe and was not believed to have been loaded. The 15-year-old was pronounced dead at the scene. The Cass County Prosecutor's Office will decide if anyone is charged in the girl's death. There's no word from Ontoit Township Edwardsburg Police that anyone was arrested. Restaurants and other hospitality businesses around Southwest Michigan are offering hiring bonuses, payment to interview, and in some cases even housing in order to find employees. Southwest Michigan Regional Chamber President Arthur Havlicek tells us restaurants are reducing hours to avoid burning out what staff they have. He says they face a particular challenge because of ongoing pandemic restrictions.
They're still at 50% capacity. They've been reopened and then closed and then reopened again. There are percentage benchmarks that they're looking for when they can reopen, but still no dates.
Havlicek says that uncertainty keeps some from working at those businesses. He also says ongoing increased unemployment benefits are a disincentive for people to return to work. However, he has advice to those not working.
Find meaningful employment now because there are jobs that have disappeared throughout this pandemic, and you don't want to be one of the last ones raising your hand saying, I want to work.
Havlicek says hotels are looking at the approaching tourism season and wondering how they'll have enough staff. The managers are cleaning rooms, bartending, and working more. The chamber has spoken with local lawmakers about the issue. As Havlicek notes, the expanded pandemic benefits aren't set to expire until September. Michigan's OK to Say student tip line has been used less during the pandemic. OK to Say program administrator Mary Gager-Drew tells us it's partly because students haven't been educated about it as much due to school visits and assemblies not taking place.
And that really has definitely impacted the number of tips. We actually saw a 42% decrease in the number of tips. So having conversations, letting students know about the program is actually, to us, the key to the success of the program.
Meanwhile, she notes the types of tips that have come into OK to Say have changed.
For example, suicide threats were up 3%. Drugs was up 1%. That mental health, the anxiety, the stress, the depression was up 5%. Cyberbullying was up 5%.
There have been fewer reports about general bullying. Gager-Drew says OK to Say was launched in 2014 to provide a safe, confidential way to report troubling situations in schools. Tips can be submitted by texting OK to Say or 652-729 or by emailing oktosay@michigan.gov. A GOP congressman says his colleagues' claims of the attack on the Capitol in January being anything other than that are bogus.
So I've asked folks to send photos of how they're surviving, maybe being at home and different activities that they're doing, and that they could send us pictures. We'll protect their identity, just use first names and maybe the community.
Speaking on CNN's State of the Union, Fred Upton says he doesn't know what other Republican lawmakers are thinking, as some are apparently trying to rewrite the history of what actually happened on January 6th. He noted that he firmly supports the plan for a bipartisan commission to investigate the events surrounding that day. Upton says Democrats made compromises to their original proposal, and he hopes Minority Leader Kevin McCarthy will support the commission as well. Officials with Berrien County Emergency Management would like the public's input on an updated hazard mitigation plan being developed for the county. Berrien County Emergency Management Coordinator Rocky Adams says after the emergency management team identifies common problems within the county, it plans to develop projects aimed at defending against future harm. The survey asks for the public's opinions on what types of projects can help defend the community. Hazard mitigation is the practice of assuming that disaster hazards will happen and finding a way to make the damage less severe. Some mitigation project examples include constructing barriers for floodwaters, improving storm drainage systems to prevent floods, or hardening facilities from high winds or tornadoes. Adams says the survey asks the community to identify where the worst and most frequent spots are after disaster events happen in Berrien County. It's available on a newly launched website called BerrienPrepared.com. The survey will be open through July 1st. United Way of Southwest Michigan President Anna Murphy has been selected to serve on the newly formed United Way Worldwide Business Strategy Task Force. The United Way says the task force was established in April by the United Way Worldwide to give voice to local United Ways in decisions around strategies, initiatives, and investments that affect them. Murphy was chosen to represent mid-sized United Ways. She'll serve on the task force's Business Strategy Task Force and says it's crucial to assess the current network's business model and strategies to address gaps in equitable, transparent engagement across the network. The 20 United Way CEOs on the Worldwide Business Strategy Task Force were picked by their peers to represent their entire worldwide network. A State House committee has voted along party lines to approve a ban on the use of vaccine passports in Michigan by the state or federal governments. Representative Jack O'Malley is Republican on the House Oversight Committee.
Because we've had such arbitrary discussion and interpretation of rules, this bill is very specific. The state cannot require that these be used. But if a private entity, then I can choose not to go into that business. And as much as I love the Tigers, I wouldn't go to a game. I think this bill makes a ton of sense.
Governor Whitmer says she is not considering instituting vaccine passports or any form of a vaccine mandate. Download the News Talk Sports 94.9 WSJM app and listen online anywhere. You can also stay up to date on the latest developments in the COVID-19 pandemic. In the WSJM newsroom, I'm Dave Wolf.